Hi, I'm Valerie,
And I'm Taylor.
and welcome to
Whimsy Gossip.
where we talk all things fantasy.
And our favorite ways to escape reality.
Today's episode,
We're going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite books ever. In the likely event by Rebecca Yarros. I am so excited to finally do a whole entire episode on this book because I could probably talk about this book for probably at least 5 hours, but hopefully this will only be an hour.
Tell me why I'm already crying. Tell me why I'm already crying. I literally didn't even think I was really going to read this book. To be honest, you made a book gossip about it, and then I was like, cool, whatever. And then we decided to do an episode for season 2, and I was like, oh shit, I have to read this now.
Well, because I was telling you, I was like, Valerie, so to preface all of this, I have a really hard time, and I think I've said this before, getting into a typical romance book. I am romantasy for life. I used to read romance, but I started noticing it just needed a little extra something to get me into it. And then when I went romantasy, I kind of can't turn back.
Yeah.
So to preface this, I think I've said it before, but I am a romantasy girly, normally for life. I have read fantasy in the past. I've read romance in the past, and it would just kind of bore me after a while because I always felt like the storylines were kind of the same and I just needed a little extra something. And then when I read romantasy, romance fantasy, I was like, hold up, this is a game changer. And then I really haven't looked back. I actually only picked up this book because I loved Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And when I found out it was her first fantasy book, I was shook because it was so well written.
Yeah.
And this book actually, if you had Kindle Unlimited, I believe it was free for Kindle Unlimited owners or users. And I had Kindle Unlimited. So I was like, okay, I loved her book in Fourth Wing. I guess I'll give her other books a shot. And also I heard that she was a pilot wife and that she wrote a lot of pilot romances.
Apache, a helicopter pilot.
Yes. And for those of you who don't know, my husband is a helicopter. Well, he's rotorcraft and fixed wings, helicopter and airplane pilot. So I was like, okay, let me just give this one a chance. And it was free. So I was like, why not? I had no idea how obsessed I was going to be with this book. And I remember literally being like, Valerie, you need to read this book because one, I think I've gotten at least I think I counted right before I started this episode. I think it's 22 people I've actually had read this book.
Seriously?
It was 21.
People?
It was 21, which was my lucky number. And then my sister-in-law, Liz, just finished it yesterday.
What'd she think?
She loved it. She was 10 out of 10, one of the best books. And she's a huge Colleen Hoover fan. And she was she's normally solely Colleen Hoover, only really reads Colleen Hoover books. And she's she just texted me today and she's like, so I may or may not be reading all of Rebecca's other books now. She wants to be a Rebecca Yarros girl. And I was like, that's me now, because if you look at my shelf, what books do I have? I have on my shelf and not on my Kindle, I have The Things We Left Unfinished, and I also have Great and Precious Things. So yeah. Anyway, Valerie.
Yeah, I like romantasy and fantasy books in general. Even a fantasy book that doesn't have romance, I'm still super into, because I think for me it's the escapism, and it's our tagline, escaping reality, right? So when you told me about the book In the Unlikely Event, I was just kind of okay, not super interested in just the normal romance or just something that's in our world, that's in our world, and also there was a military aspect to it. So I was like, is this gonna be cheesy? Because my husband is in the Air Force, and my dad was in the Air Force, so I'm a military brat. I've literally grown up in the military, government, military world, Department of Defense world, my entire life. And so I was just like, is this gonna be super corny and cheesy, basic, Dear John type, just stupid? And so
Dear John wasn't stupid. Dear John was so cute.
No, it was fine, but it's, I don't know, like Dear John, it has like, I never really read the book. So to be honest, I've never read the book. I think I've watched part of the movie, but it's like, it became a whole thing, right? A Dear John letter, right? You get a
Yeah.
Dear John letter. Um, which I've definitely been on that side of things before. Anyway, so I was just like not super interested in just like a normal romance novel. And so when you told me about it, I was just like, okay. But I was doing so much other reading. Like, this has been so amazingly difficult for me, this podcast, because I'm like binging through Throne of Glass right now, Fourth Wing, and now all of a sudden you throw in the likely event as well. And I'm just like, well, my God, this is so much work.
But you're
Like,
handling it great.
thanks. I'm trying really, really hard. But so then I picked up, or I downloaded In the Likely Event, because it didn't become available to me until August 1st. So you were able to get it early on the Kindle, but I don't have a Kindle. So you read it before me. And then when I found out that Teddy Hamilton was voicing Nate, I was just like, wait a second, because I love him now. Like, I feel like ever since we made that Haunting Adeline Zayden mashup video, and then he followed us, and then he shared our post, I was just like, I love you. Like, shout out to Teddy Hamilton. I'm like,
I just
so
love
supportive of
his voice.
him.
Like,
yeah. And so I saw when I looked up the audiobook, because I'm more of an audiobook person, I was like, oh my God, it's Teddy Hamilton. And I shared it immediately. But yeah, this book, it blew my expectations out of the water, and it was 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 for me.
it was so good.
Did you expect it to be that good?
No. I mean, okay, so
Yeah, be
in
honest.
fairness, I was like, okay, it's gonna be a romance. I'm probably not gonna be too into it, just because again, I need a little bit more normally. And when I was reading it, I remember just, again, I loved Fourth Wing, and I loved Rebecca's I guess way of writing Fourth Wing, how she just, you start the story off by like right away you're in
action.
Yeah, you're just in crazy action. So that really caught me with Fourth Wing. And then this book, I remember just like reading the back of it, and it was getting like, everyone online on TikTok was like, it's so good, it's so good. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll read it too. And when I picked it up, and I was like, okay, I loved Fourth Wing, obviously. It's like, I guess I'll give it a shot, because Rebecca was known prior just to being like a romance author. And I started reading it, and then I think within like the first like 2 or 3 chapters, I was so hooked. And I'm pretty sure early on, I remember texting you and being like, Valerie, this book is so good. I was literally eating my own words, because there's a lot of my coworkers who I work with who are not romantasy readers, and they are just romance readers, which there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No,
everyone has their preferences, and I remember like I recommended books to them in the past, and they're like, is it like fantasy though? And I'm like, actually, guys, this is the first book I'm going to recommend to you that's not fantasy. And it's amazing. Like, it really did like just blow me out of the water. She did a phenomenal job writing this book, and it just made me so emotional around so many times. And I was reading it on my Kindle, and I, again, work in the medical field, and I remember there were moments where I was like slow at work, and I was just like literally so engulfed in this book that I was kind of forgetting where I was. Like, that's the kind of book it is. I was so immersed and engulfed, and I could not read the words on the page fast enough, and I was just forgetting that I was at work, and I was just like nose in my Kindle, unable to function.
Oh my God, why am I getting so emotional? Like, this fucking book changed my brain chemistry.
Yes. Also, I want to say, like, if we make a podcast about a book, it's because we truly really loved that book.
Yeah.
I want to say, like, there's been plenty of other books that we've read that were like, these are really good books. Like, don't get me wrong, they're good books. I would still recommend them to other people. But for us to like sit here and like make a whole podcast, not even on like a series, like a like a Throne of
A
Glass or
one-off.
an ACOTAR. Like this is a standalone book. Like we know Fourth Wing, there's going to be more books. We're going to have more content. We're so excited. It's going to be
Yes.
like more to the story. This is a standalone book that gets an entire podcast episode.
I want this to be a movie so fucking bad for all the people that do not read. I want this to be a movie so fucking
I want this story
bad.
out there. Yeah.
Nate and Izzy are like this. The way that this was unfolded and written, I was on the edge of my seats. I was wondering what the fuck was happening. I was like so invested in their story. And I don't know, again, if it's like the fact that like I am like I feel like very Izzy-like I'm very professional in a professional work field, and I work like within that realm of like, you know, the professional like lawyer, Congress, government world, like that whole sphere is like my jam. And then I'm married to somebody who is in the military. I don't know if it's that for me, but I just really connected with it. And I think also you just got
over deployment.
Yeah, that too. I understood and related to so much in that, and I could see it because like not only like I've been through growing up as a military brat, then my high school sweetheart, first love, ended up going into the Army at Fort Benning. So I was like resonating with that whole situation, and like I did the whole like boot camp thing, went through all of that, went through all the letters and all of this, and then that ended up not working out, but then I end up still marrying somebody in the military. And I just connect to that so much, and I understood a lot of it. Like everything made sense to me, and I also was just like, okay, I can tell like Rebecca did her research. She talked to her husband, like she knows, you know, what's up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like she made it as accurate as possible. And then also to start the story off with the Afghanistan withdrawal, I felt was like, I
don't know if it was exactly that, but because she said like these aren't real events, this is just fictional.
I didn't catch that part. I mean, it seemed pretty realistic to me. Like she had to have researched the Afghanistan withdrawal at least a little bit to start it off to where it was starting to deteriorate and the situation. And so again, this is my jam, right? This is my thing, like geopolitics and international stuff. Like this is my thing. So for me, I was just like, oh shit. Like,
okay, so
you can see the country slowly deteriorating throughout the book. And this is so cool. And whatever, you know, the realism of certain things, I kind of did roll my eyes at a few things in that book. However, like I felt the pressure heating up like a pressure cooker situation. And I think it was really freaking interesting. And I know that she had to have done some background research to see like,
100%.
Okay, what was the timeline between we were, you know, starting to withdraw, we're starting to hamper down on things. And then Congress people are like trying to do stuff. And then, oh no, shit hit the fan. Like the Taliban is right here outside of our doors and we got to go.
It says this, like there's a saying right here in the book, and it says this is a work of fiction. Names, characters, organizations, places, and events and incidents are products of the author's complete imagination and are used fictitiously. Otherwise, otherwise any resemblance to any actual persons, living, dead, are personally coincidental.
So even though like things like might not be like matched up like exactly, and it's still a fictitious story, I thought it was really accurately represented and like inspired by like the real US military and like all the current events that happened. And so it was really easy to follow coming from a perspective of really paying attention to those like world events that happened. And as soon as she was like mentioning certain things, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, like I remember watching this on the news. I remember these things happening. Even though she made up her own, obviously, story that Nate doesn't exist and Izzy doesn't exist and this whole congressional thing didn't really happen. It's cool to see a story that's like built within like some sort of reality, right? Like I thought that was really cool
kind
about
like the Titanic
event. Huh?
It's kind of like the Titanic.
It's
like
exactly
Jack and
like the
Rose
Titanic.
Never existed, but this Jack and Rose could have existed, you know, and like we would never know, like, but a story like that could have existed. And I think it just
Exactly.
adds, it makes you more invested maybe in those events. Like, cause I know I'm very invested in the Titanic itself, just not just the movie alone, but like the actual event of the Titanic sinking and like everything that goes along with it. I just love
Right.
learning about it. And I don't know if it's because I was so attached as a young kid being introduced to the idea of Jack and Rose and like this amazing love story and like how tragically it ends. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert, luckily this one does not end tragically. But it's
Yeah.
kind of something like that. Like it's taking a fiction a real event, like a real event that happens and then creating a fictional story out of it.
Yes, that's a great like point. It's very much the same thing. Like Titanic really happened,
Mm-hmm.
but again, you use that world building, that event that already happened, and then you make a fictional story out of it. And I think that that's kind of like when you make modern day romance, you are taking real things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I took for granted when thinking about romance, normal romance, or just normal books in general, I took for granted the fact that I don't have to world build. The world's already there. The world's
Yeah.
what I know. New York is New York, right? They talk about certain things that came out because it's set 10 years before 2021. So it's set like, so I think they meet in like 2011 or something like that, or something close to that,
Mm-hmm.
because they know each other for 10 years. And she really does her research on the things in pop culture that are coming out in like that time. So it's like, oh
Like the
yeah, like
music
this
and the
makes sense.
iPod. I was like,
See,
stop.
the iPod, Panic at the Disco, things like that. Everything, even movies that are coming
Mm-hmm.
out, right? Like she did her research to make sure that things made sense. And so we have our world already set. We don't have to build anything. We already know what the world is. And that made it so easy and so comfortable. And I just had to focus on Nate and Izzy and their story and how it's playing out. And I didn't have to focus on what are the religions in this world? What are the countries? What are this? I already know.
Mm-hmm.
And it made
Also,
it
Panic at
easy.
the Disco. I was such a little Panic at the Disco fan that when
Same.
I read that, I was like, shut up. This is amazing. Like, I was so excited because I was like, I love Panic at the Disco. I still love Panic at the Disco. Like, there will never be anything better than I Write Sins, Not Tragedies. Like, that's their most iconic song, but like, it's so good that you can't help. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. And if you don't, then there's something wrong with you. Not really. I'm
Yes,
just
I
kidding.
do
I'm just
know.
kidding.
Panic at the Disco is fire. It is fire. And like I love that he had that on his iPad. Like that is a green flag for me. Like I love it.
Yeah.
I loved him that I had that on his iPad.
Okay.
So do we want to like break down the story, or how do we want to do this?
Yeah. So as I was going through, I didn't save too many quotes, but the beauty of the Kindle, just like put a little Kindle benefit in there. I don't like to mark up my books because I'm OCD about them and I will not mark them up. So I love that my Kindle, I can just highlight them and my books don't get destroyed. Um, and anyway, so in the beginning of the book, I did fact check this with my husband that the first 3 minutes, because again, he's a pilot, I was like, the first 3 minutes, is that really the like most dangerous part? And he did say like takeoff and landing really are the two parts where you're gonna have issues. He said takeoff, normally you're gonna have issues because like the pre-flight was not done correctly. So if they didn't do pre-flight correctly, then that can be like leading into an issue. And also landing, like if landing gear fails, he gave me like a whole breakdown of like everything that
Yeah.
could go wrong. And he was like, well, what kind of plane were they flying? And then what were the conditions? And I was like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of plane they're flying. I don't know what kind of conditions there were. I don't know
Right.
what day of the week it was. I can't tell you any of that. I mean, probably if
Saturday.
I read that.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I know. But like it was just things like that. But he's very knowledgeable in that. So he did tell me that was very accurate. That the takeoff is the most dangerous part. So we meet Nate and Izzy, both their first time flying. Nate is like your local, like small town boy. Izzy is going to visit her sister, and I love her sister, by the way. Serena, I just loved her sister's like spunk and personality, and like no one's telling me no, I'm gonna go overseas and I'm gonna stay here as long as I can. Like I just love how
Yeah,
her
we'll
idea
get
was
to that point.
yeah, I loved her. But anyway, so the idea of them going and like being on the plane together, and then the plane
And he like helps her with her luggage.
Yeah, and like
and then
they're
he's
sitting in
in
the
her
wrong
seat.
seat, so they like switch seats, and oh my gosh, dying over here. And then
So yeah, going into this, I knew there was going to be a plane crash just because we had talked about it beforehand before I read it. So I knew there was going to be a plane crash, but that's kind of all I knew about it.
Yeah,
going
well,
into
besides the if you watch our husband's episode, plugging that in here, it's a funny one. Eric's reaction, that's some military shit right there. He's like, fact check, no longer fantasy. It's
really,
true.
it really fucking is, though. It really fucking is.
I was dying, and I was like, dang it, Eric, like, don't ruin the book. And I was
know.
like, in the episode, I was like, no, that doesn't actually happen. But like, yeah, it did. But you know,
it definitely did. But yeah, so they meet on the plane and they sit next to each other, and she's like super scared of planes and
flying. It's her first time.
No, it's not her first time. It's his.
I thought it was both their first times. Is it not?
No, just
okay.
his. Yeah, it's just his. She just said she's scared of flying.
Oh,
and then he says, this is my first time on an airplane. And I think he's like, what, 19 years old or something? And she's
just about to go off to boot camp.
Yeah, he's a little baby. They're both little babies. And she's going to go, visit her parents and then start college soon. Or she already started college.
I think she's visiting her sister.
Well, but I don't know if she's already started college or she just started college or what's going on. She might have just started college.
Yep, I think.
And she's flying home for something because it's like the holidays, I think.
Is the holidays? Oh goodness, I haven't. To be honest, guys, I have not read this book in so long.
Go to the chapter after the first chapter.
So we are back on November 2011.
Yep.
Oh
so November.
Gosh.
So yeah, I think it's like Thanksgiving.
St. Louis.
Yep, St. Louis, Missouri.
Wow.
So they are. That's why they land in the Missouri River. And like they just have this cute little interaction, and I'm just like here for it, and I'm loving it, and. They're just she's so scared and he's so calm. And then they have the crash. But meanwhile, like they're going back and forth to Kabul, Afghanistan.
Yeah. So this story is a dual timeline story and it's dual point of view, which is what I love as well. So dual timeline is you go from, it starts off in the beginning. So actually we should probably start it off. The beginning of this story is Nate's point of view. He is overseas. He's in Afghanistan. He's in special ops. He's in the military. He is being assigned to protect certain political figures. Mm-hmm. And when he gets his assignment, out walks Isabel Astor. And she walks off and then he is like, oh, shit. And then you realize he has a past with this girl Izzy or Isabeau or whatever because
he hasn't seen her for 3 years.
Issa, I think, is what she goes by now. And he hasn't seen her, and then it's like, oh my gosh. And you're sitting here like, Miss Astor, so why do you what happened? And then it bops back to, so you're at the point where present time right now, they just see each other, and then it bops back to him when they met for the first time
on the plane.
Yeah, so the timelines are both very different, but Rebecca does a really good job at what I loved about the dual timeline is in the present day they'll mention something about what happened and she'll bop back in time, but it's not maybe specifically that event, it's them planning for that event, and you might not actually get them on that event or what they do or what not, but it bops back in time in the past to close to that event or some kind of clue that makes the story flow so well, because
it flows so
dual
well.
Timeline can be so messy sometimes.
Dual timeline, dual perspective.
Yeah, but it can be so messy, and she made it flow so perfectly and stitched and weaved it wonderfully, so you don't think that it's chaotic and you're like, oh my gosh, and overwhelming. I've noticed when I've read dual timelines in the past, it can be so overwhelming, and this was like cake.
It was comfort. It is literally like a Gilmore Girls. It literally is one of those feel good comfort reads. Notebook. I want to watch The Notebook and curl up and eat ice cream. I want to fucking read or listen to In the Likely Event and just have a good emotional feel, like comfort, like a fucking cozy blanket, looking out over the lake and having a cup of tea or coffee, like curled up and reading this book. Like I want to just snuggle this book and just fall asleep. Like not even the way that's boring, but just like I feel so at ease. Like I enjoyed it so much. I read this book I listened to it in 3 days, I think. And I couldn't I couldn't pause it. I couldn't pause the book. And Teddy Hamilton did an amazing job at Nate, and Izzy, I don't know, I'm sorry for the voice actor that did her, but it was just so freaking good. And I think there were the parts that I think made me roll my eyes were when he got hauled off to boot camp. So I guess if people have already read the book, they kind of know like the events. So I don't know if we should break it all down or just kind of talk about some highlights. What do you think? Let's
talk about highlights, because I hope if you're listening to this podcast, you've read the book. And maybe this might be a little refresher, or like if you haven't read the book in a while, because it's end of August right now, and I read this book way back in July.
Yeah.
Like I just that's a long time.
It like a week ago, and I already like am forgetting stuff. But yeah, so I really, it was kind of like rolling my eyes at the hospital. So after the plane crash, when
he signed to be her husband, stop it. I was
dude, when he signed to be her husband, shut the fuck up. And like the fact that like he kept her alive was giving me like so like Lost vibes, like Survivor energy. Like I was just like, oh my God, Nate. He was like asking her, and he's so smart to ask her like her blood type, which she's allergic to, this and this and that. I was just like, oh my God, you are a fucking gem of this earth. But yeah, I think like him leaving, I thought it was kind of silly that like he didn't like leave his information or like leave Serena with his phone number at least or anything. Like that was kind of like rolled my eyes a little bit. And then also the fact that he like went off to boot camp like right away, because I think that, but I kind of stopped when they gave him like the option. They did give him like an option, and he like chose, no, I'm going to like just get on the plane and go. So I was like, also, okay, that's more realistic. I don't know. He just did, right? He just was like, I'm just going to do this. But like the never the right time thing for me was really difficult, and like how things weren't working out for them really was difficult for me.
So I have a couple quotes from like the first chapter, and mind you, this is my first time. The first time I was ever reading this book. So a couple of these quotes, I was like, oh, I don't know. They were just lines that stuck out to me the first time I read it.
Yeah, and shoot.
From chapter 1 in Nathaniel's point of view, it said, 10 years had passed since we met on a very different tarmac, and the sight of her still left me speechless.
I
love him. Like literally going back, I'm probably gonna, I know I have certain books on my queue, my TBR that I have to read.
You can't read this until our next break, I swear. We have too much to do. We have too much to do.
Okay, fine.
And what else do you have? What other quotes?
I have, I'm pretty sure Izzy said this, but funny because I thought you were dead. Yes, we're both wrong. And then chapter 2, let's see. This is the most valid quote. Shout out to our husbands. He was a reader. This guy just kept getting hotter. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the idea that they they would get these books and they would highlight and annotate the books and then send them back and forth to each other. I was like, that is the most romantic thing in the entire world to me. Like, I was like, well, that is the standard. That is the most romantic thing. I thought The Notebook was the standard until I read that. And I was like,
felt their love though, dude. I felt their love throughout the entire thing, and the connection, and like it was never cringy. It was never corny. It was just always there. And the fact that like she got sent his stuff because he was sitting in her seat, but she still didn't make out his entire, like she couldn't find him because he wasn't on social media. And then the fact that they run into that bar, and then she ends up staying, and they go to like the Savannah, like Georgia beach together. And then that's when they kiss for the first time in the water.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. And then she had to say goodbye to him in the airport. And I was just like, no. And then like he surprises her for her birthday, and I'm just like, all of it. This book was just so damn good. Like, I can't deal.
Okay,
I
so
can't
other
deal.
quotes I have is, go ahead and squeeze. You can't break me. That is Izzy again. Nate is, she'll be safer with me. And then because Jenkins isn't willing to die for her. Okay.
Oh.
All right.
See, that's the thing. Like, the whole time, like, they keep popping back to Afghanistan. There's just so much tension. Like, when he goes into her bedroom
like sexual
to help her
tension.
with the nightmare, I'm just like, am I really advocating for this right now? But like,
I know she's engaged, but like,
oh.
and then
like,
we meet Jeremy. I'm like, oh gosh,
gross.
Like
yeah, he cheated on her multiple times, having an affair. Like, fuck that guy.
Have you seen the 7 year something leap year with Amy Adams?
I don't know.
It's like in Ireland, and like the girl gets to propose to the guy.
Yes.
So like I just imagine Jeremy looking like that other dude. And it's like, oh yeah, we're getting engaged because so we can get this apartment. Like, we can't get this apartment unless we're engaged because it looks better on the application. And then like, that's just the vibe that Jeremy gave off, was like marriage of convenience.
Right.
It just looks good. And then another quote I have is, and it just like, this one is probably, I would say, my favorite quote. And I don't know. I guess I knew the first time I read it, it was still going to ring true. It says, I have one weakness on this entire planet, and you're feet away when you're supposed to be halfway around the globe.
Nate and Izzy. Nate and Izzy. I
they are my whole heart. They are my whole heart.
They really are. And not only are they like this, like, she's a power as successful as a bitch, and he's like this like fucking warrior pretty much, but they like meet up in like all the tropical islands, and they have like a whole list of places to meet up, and oh my god, I love it. And I do get frustrated though, like for a while, whereas he's like, you know, I don't want to, and I got his point. Like, I understood what he was coming from in the beginning, where it's like, I don't want to waste our shot. Like, I don't want to take our shot now and then have bitterness and whatever. But as time went on, it got, I was feeling Izzy's frustration, like, pain and frustration and everything. And I was just like, look, like, you better fucking like shit or get off the pot. Like, we literally, come on, you know, it's like, it only goes on for so long, and that excuse only works for so long, where it's like, we do need to take our shot or we're going to miss it. And they talk about that. And, you know, when
his mom dies and she
when
shows
his mom dies, the fact that she has notifications on her phone, I think is absolutely tragic and adorable. And what pisses me off about Nate is, I understand, and I also don't, the fact that he like re-enlisted and then went into special ops after. Like, he was only supposed to do one tour just to pay for college, and then he was going to be like an English teacher, and instead he like re-enlisted knowing that Izzy's out there and they already had kind of a connection.
Yeah, I didn't understand that
but
either.
It's kind of like that idea of two people who are on very different paths in life, who are doing what's best for them and what they want to do and trying to achieve their goals, but they also are very much in love. And that is so hard and difficult, I think, for us as humans. I think that a lot of times we will either, one or the other person in a relationship will sacrifice what they want to do for the other person. And like, they will, like, a lot of times in military relationships, especially, like, that usually the woman or the female, like, they will give up their whole life and go follow their husband. Or people who meet in like high school, they'll like go to a certain college because one person's going to college, or they'll make decisions, right,
based off of the other person,
and not based off of what they truly want to do. And so in that respect, I really I really understood where they were coming from. But at the same time, I'm just like, at some point, you have to decide whether you're going to be together or not, because Izzy is sitting over here and she can't be with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it also killed me to know that like they were being with other people the whole
Right.
time.
I was like, how dare you? I was like,
how dare you?
You've met Nate and you think that there's anyone else that's going to compare?
Like, same for Nate.
Yeah.
The fact that he was like fucking around too, and he like told her about it. But it's just like,
at least they were honest.
They were very honest, and in that regard, it was healthy, but it was also very unhealthy because he was like a Disneyland boyfriend, and he just like showed up when he could, and again, like he was making his own decisions not based off of her, and he wanted her to make decisions not based off of him.
Mm-hmm.
But they were drawn to each other and they were in love. So like it's that question of what is more important.
So I've done long distance relationships multiple times. I think I've really only had like one non-long distance relationship. And my uncle, who had dated someone from England, and obviously we're in America, and they didn't work out. And he had told me one time, when it comes to relationships and they're long distance, and I imagine Nate is your essentially long distance.
Yeah.
I think that's my take on their relationship. He said it's always going to come down to which one of you moves and which one is going to like bend the knee, essentially, which one of you is going to make the move to, one, give up your lifestyle, your family, and everything for the other. And I remember it was at my brother's football game when he told me that, because I was dating this guy and it was, long distance. And he said, well, have you had that conversation yet? And I was like, and then my now current husband, we were doing long distance when we first met, and he ended up getting a really great job opportunity by me. So by pure luck, I didn't have to move, but I was planning on it for him. So I think if you love someone enough, because the guys I dated in the past and the one that was like super long distance, I was not willing to like move to his country. Even though he had asked me, he was like, will you please just move here for 9 months while I'm finishing up school? And I was like, no, I'm not moving to your country. Like, as much as I loved Ireland, I was like, I'm not moving there. Right. And I don't know if it's because I just wasn't in the right relationship, because I'm pretty sure right now if Ronald told me like, will you move to, I don't know, wherever in the world with me, because I have to, I'd be like, okay, let's go, honey. So I think when you meet the right person, or you're at the right point in time in your life, because I was also very young. I was 19, and I'm imagining Nate and Izzy are so young. And I feel like at 19, you're still figuring so much of yourself out.
Oh, definitely. But that's why in the beginning I was fine with it. In the beginning I was like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, you barely know each other. You just met. Like, you don't even have a time. He's about to deploy. And like, you don't have the time to actually get to know each other. And he says it multiple times. He's like, we've only spent like a week together, 9 days together consecutively. And we don't even really know each other. But there's just this deep love, and it's so beautiful
and so pure. Like, when you know, and you can feel it. You can feel it on the page.
Exactly.
And like when he showed up for her birthday, like there was so many points in time.
When they went back to the house and like he didn't want to go all the way because he didn't want to hurt her. He didn't want to do that. But God, the sexual scenes in this book, the spicy scenes were really, really great too.
Okay, yeah, the spicy, like after his mom died and like he showed up at her, I was like, oh my gosh, and he was so distraught and everything, and I was just like, and for a second there, I was like, oh no, they're not gonna do anything, because he's grieving and he's upset, and they're not gonna do anything like that. Like, and first, I just like normal book boyfriend stuff. Like, normally the guy would be like in a normal book boyfriend, like Rhysand, if he just lost, I don't know, like Cassian or Moore or anyone like that, he wouldn't go to Feyre and be like, take my mind off of it.
Yeah.
That just wouldn't happen. But
yeah,
book boyfriends are typically fictional. And I feel like it was such a real moment with Nate, because he was like, you know what? Like, a real man is going to probably be more or less inclined to be like, yep, you came all the way out here for me. Like, I clearly love you. Take my mind off of it. And
I was walking into work every day while listening to this book, and I was like talking to Dom and Coley, and I was like, you guys need to read this immediately. I was like, you guys need to read this immediately. I was like, I am dying. I was like, Nathaniel Fallon, that's my man. I was like, you cannot compete or compare with Nathaniel Fallon.
I literally was sitting there and I was like, do I love Nate or do I love Xaden more? I was literally having this internal battle in my head. Yeah, I know. And I'm like, is it just because I've read Nate recently and I haven't read Xaden in a minute? But like,
I feel like the thing is like, this is like sort of realistic, as non-realistic as it is. I'm like, oh shit, like this is obtainable. Like this like is a real type sort of thing. And they're like living in a normal world and they're like normal people. And again, like I just resonate so much with the military aspect of it and like their military relationship.
You would love a lot of her other books because she writes a lot of military books.
See, but typically I feel like I wouldn't like it because a lot of the military stuff makes me cringe because like I as much as I absolutely, you know, that's my that whole world is like my background and my jam, like I'm not your typical like military spouse. I've never been that way. I've never been like that. So a lot of the military stuff, to be honest with you, it makes me a little cringy. And I think it's like this rejection complex of like, I don't ever want to be, which there's nothing wrong with it. This is completely internal to me. Like there is absolutely nothing wrong if you are a military spouse and that is your jam and like you are, you know, a homemaker or whatever you want to do in your life. That is totally amazing. This is just for me personally. Like I'm just such an Izzy of like really trying to like be that lawyer ass bitch and like just
be your own person,
or like a Serena, to be honest. Like, yeah, like be just, you know, on my own and like just very like driven, independent. And like I don't need no man, but like also, I love my husband.
We gotta figure out.
I'm going on a rant.
We have to figure out what this symbolism is with the word Nevers, because Nevers is who that's like his, so Isabeau in that book or that movie that Izzy was named after. So and it's very funny because they're only allowed to be with each other you know, during certain times and all this stuff, and it's very much about their relationship. I highlighted one of the quotes and it said, Nevers, gravity shifted beneath my feet. Isabeau's lover cursed to only see her at dawn and dusk, doomed to love her but never touch her, never to hold her, never to make a real life together. So Nevers was Nate's call sign. We don't learn Nate's call sign till the very end, and Nevers is his call sign. Okay, the Veil and Nevers from Fourth Wing.
Say that one more
Nevers is in Fourth Wing.
No, it's not. Really?
Yeah, the Veil and Nevers. Nevers is like in Fourth Wing. And then Nevers is the call sign for Nate. And I was like, wait a second, what is Nevers? What is the significance of Nevers?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, so I just got to figure this out because I'm like, what?
Well, Nevers, yeah. What's from that, like I said, that book, like character that never was able to.
Well, I think it was made up because people were asking. Let me see if I can like click it and like highlight just this word. Nevers. Thank you. Nevers, an autonomous region of northern Spain on the border with France. Capital, Pamplona. It represents the southern. Okay. Let's see. What about this?
It's a real place in Spain.
Apparently so. Okay. Well, I don't know what the significance of Nevers is, but I was like,
that's
wait
interesting,
a second. I picked up on that and I was like, I'm confused. 1 second. I'm a little like beside myself right now. Let me see.
When he the whole book they're talking about New York.
Mm-hmm.
And when New York happened, I think I died inside.
Okay, wait, real quick. I just Googled, I went on Fourth Wing, and with the Kindle, you can like search words, and Nevers is used 46 times.
In Fourth Wing?
In Fourth Wing. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder what that means.
And join the organized chaos beyond. Each of Navarre's 6 provinces has sent this year's share of candidates for military service. That's bullshit. I see. He's sworn allegiance to Navarre.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that's something I picked up, and I was like, what is the correlation with Rebecca Yarros and Navarre? So
Does that mean like Xaden and Violet are destined to be like apart?
I don't know. I'm gonna do some deep dive research on this whole Navarre situation, and yeah.
Thank you so much for making me read this book.
Anytime.
Thank you so much for making me read this book.
I figured you'd like it. I know you, and I was like, oh my god, this is. And also, this was a little bit selfish of me because I know I needed someone to talk to about this book.
Okay, so let's talk about New York. Can we talk about New York?
Yes, New York.
What are your thoughts on New York? Like,
New York threw me for a loop, because he obviously didn't show up. Sorry, my dogs just walked in the room. He didn't show up for like their vacation, and it was like a whole big thing because
did that
was
break
like,
you?
yes, because I figured I was like, oh, he's gonna show up. Oh, he's gonna show up, and then
Were you worried?
Yes, I thought he was gonna die. And I was like, okay, but we know he's alive because he's like in the present, like he was there. And I'm like, so I don't know, I was back and forth, but I also was concerned. I was like, so what happened? Like if his mom had already died, what could have happened that he wouldn't show up? Maybe
Do you agree with her leaving early?
Yeah.
Would you have left?
Yes.
Or stayed?
I would have left. I don't know. Maybe I would have stayed just to enjoy the beach and read a book on the beach. Maybe.
I would have stayed.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of money.
Well, I think
and I just flew
for it, right?
Yeah, but it's free. I would have stayed.
Valerie, knowing you would have stayed and you would have made friends with everyone on the island. Like knowing Valerie, Valerie would have been like, I just made all these friends. And that's just very Valerie at a bar at like, I'm going to make friends with anyone. Like anywhere she goes, she's like, I could just have a conversation with anyone. I could talk to anyone. And just, you would be at the local like bar in said resort and being like, let's party every single night. Let's have a good time. And then somehow someone was
upset. My guy didn't show up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
somehow,
let's take shots.
Some guy with some massive yacht or whatnot, or some celebrity would be like, hey, you want to come on our yacht tomorrow? And you'd be like, yeah, sure. And then there'd be Valerie at some big, crazy yacht party. Like,
yeah.
Tell me that would not happen to you.
That would 100% happen to me. If you're not going to show up, I'm not going to sit here and sulk. I mean, I will for a little bit. I'm definitely going to be upset. I'm going to call my sister. I'm going to call my friends. I'm going to call whoever.
Yeah.
I'm going to bitch the fuck about you, complain. I'm going to cry. And then I'm going to go find friends. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to find friends in a yacht.
I could see you like texting Sydney or I or someone and being like, hey,
yeah,
I have an extra bed in Cabo.
Can you come? Can you come?
I mean, all you got to do is pay for your flight to get here.
All you got to do is pay for your flight.
Everything else is included. Come on. And someone would, yeah.
Somebody, Alicia probably would come.
Actually, Alicia would be like, Brian, you got the kid? You got Elijah? Okay, bye.
Alicia's the most likely to come.
Actually, like, yeah. I was thinking Sydney. I was thinking Sydney would be the most likely to come, but I'm thinking Alicia now.
No, Alicia has the more like, she's got like that financial means on a whim, and she's just she's a crazy traveler just like me. Like we have the same energy. So she would probably come, but I would definitely not leave, but you would?
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm extroverted to an extent. Like I'm only extroverted when I have to be extroverted. I feel like I'm an extroverted introvert, and that's just me. Because like I would probably stay for a couple days, enjoy my time. I love being alone sometimes. Like Taylor time is the best time. And because again, Taylor time is, I'll do like just like taking care of myself, whatever that may mean. Like, reading. If it's like reading or it's like putting a face mask on, doing my nails, just like little things that's like me time.
Yeah.
I really like being in my own company. So sometimes I don't mind that, and I would probably enjoy that for maybe a couple of days, and then if I still hadn't heard anything from him, I probably would reach out to a couple friends and be like, hey, if anyone wants to come, I mean, yeah. But like if I'm not the kind of person, I can go out and make friends on a whim, and I can go out and do that, but it's not something I enjoy to do. Like
you're very friendly.
I am very friendly, but I'm not like I don't know. I think the difference is like you would go down to the bar and you would just make all the friends, where I would be like, I'm just gonna go down to the coffee shop and I'm just gonna, sit there and just say hey, and then I'll just track back up to my room. Like I don't think I have that. Like I'm outgoing and I'm friendly, but like I don't have that. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like I don't have that ability to be like
Yeah.
going random places. I can make friends with anyone, but like I'm too nervous sometimes. I just don't think I'm like, ooh, I could sit back and I could just kind of hang out by myself right now, or I could have to put forth a lot of effort and entertain a lot of strangers and and people are going to ask questions, and then
Yeah.
I'm going to be really sad about Nate not showing up. So like I would, or like Ronald, for example, not showing up. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, like this is awful. And then I'm going to be crying and I don't like people seeing me cry. So I don't think I could do it. I'd probably leave
There's
early.
a lot. Yeah.
Unless like you or one of my other friends came, I'd probably leave early.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the one person that would come would either be you or my brother Ryan.
That's a great point, like different personalities. But
Yeah.
yeah, so okay, so then we get back to New York and Nate shows up and she is packing to leave, and she's basically like, there's a whole parents aspect of this book as well, which is
I
really
hate her
interesting.
parents.
Yeah, like they seem, when they didn't come to the fucking hospital when she got into a plane crash, I about died.
When they're like, you're good, congrats, I was like, all I could think of is my mother would have been there 10 minutes prior. Like she would have heard the plane crashed and my mom would have already been on like there already. Hi, Steve. The cat,
She
Steve.
is so much today.
You can't see her if you're listening, but Steve the cat is just needing all the loves today. Angel baby Steve. That's her purring. That's not Valerie Ride. That is Steve. Steve is making a special appearance in the podcast.
Again.
Steve is like the unofficial mascot of our podcast.
It's a black cat season because it's September now.
Spooky season. Yeah, September. So my mom, I think, would have been there in like 2 seconds. So would my dad. Like, I was shocked when her parents didn't show up, and that they were
that was a red flag immediately.
And then now I'm like, yeah, now you have no say over
my life.
Well, who she gets to marry, anything, and then figuring out Jeremy is the guy originally who broke her heart.
Oh my God, what, dick face?
Yeah, dick face.
Fucking dick face.
I wasn't gonna say
when Nate found out it was dick face, and he was just like, anybody but dick face. And I was like, oh my God, I love this.
Yeah.
Yes. I loved it. I was just like, fuck. But I was also like, Nate. Did Nate overreact in New York? Absolutely. Was he also going through some really crazy shit?
Yeah,
absolutely.
He was like,
but
really
I do think
it.
that he like got very angry with her because she didn't say yes immediately. And this is a prime situation of seeing both sides, and nobody's really wrong here. Nobody's wrong.
Important.
Yeah. Nobody's wrong. They're both right.
Like Nate's hurt and his ego's a little hit to the ego. He also is saying like, here I am being vulnerable, exposing this part of myself to you. Like I want to be, I
have a ring. I did this. I drove all this way. Like
this is me making that effort.
I didn't show up because my friend died, this and that. And then she's just coming off of like, I get her perspective too, because she was like, okay, I'm done with this fucker. He didn't show up. He didn't tell me anything. I don't know where he is. I don't know what's happening. Like, I'm not waiting around anymore. I'm finally going to give up. I'm finally going to be moving on. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he shows up and proposes to her after she already got it in her head, clearly that she was done. So I understand both sides. It's so well written.
Because if you imagine like not seeing someone for months on end, and not always like you don't have like constant daily conversations with them, you just know, okay, at this month, at this time, I'm going to see them. And you might have like 2 or 3 message exchanges in between. Like I could totally understand where Izzy's coming from. She's like, okay, he's clearly moved on.
Yep.
He didn't have the decency to just tell me. He just clearly forgot I existed.
Yeah.
Because that was like the vibe that I got. I was like, oh my God, did Nate like move on with someone? Did he just like realize like I don't want to put forth this effort anymore?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure Izzy was feeling some type of way about it. So when she's saying no, it's like sometimes your emotions, it takes a little bit for them to catch up with like the reality of what's actually going on.
But then she stood out there for 30 minutes
I
with
know.
Serena in the rain.
Okay. And can we talk about the ending with, do we want to talk about Torres, his friend?
Yeah, the one that got killed.
So I did not see that coming. And I should have known better because of how Fourth Wing ended. And I just read Fourth Wing prior to reading this. So I should have known that the way Rebecca literally just had my jaw on the floor for Fourth Wing, the very last page. I'm not going to say anything in case you haven't read it. But this book did the same thing when we find out that Torres, Nate's friend, the one that he's been talking about or talking to this entire time, literally is
dead.
And
Crazy.
he's carrying around the engagement ring and his dog tags. So I went through the book and I read this book twice now. And the second time I read it,
So his dog tags is his friends?
Yeah, they're Torres. Like, so.
All right, I'm crying.
Yeah. So
Are you kidding me?
The two things I flagged the page for you. So I looked it up when we realized Torres is Torres. So it's when she's in the helicopter with her sister, or the airplane.
Yeah.
And she said, like, Serena's looking at the engagement ring, and then it says her brow furrowed. Is that a dog tag? Not sure, I said, forcing the tape from the rest of the metal. Nate told me he only took on the ring on his missions that didn't have to be sanitized, but I slipped my engagement ring onto my right hand and kept it safe, then wiped the name clean of the sticky residue. It's not his. It's not? She glanced my way, clicking through the pictures on her view screen. No, I hadn't been the only person Nate had been carrying with him. The tag read Torres, Julian. Yeah. And then it says, I was wrong. I whispered, I always assumed that Julian was Roel, which went to show just how little I knew about the time Nate and I had spent apart all these years. So anyway, and then like an example is, because we're reading it, and this is in Nate's point of view. This is Izzy's point of view. My bad. When she's about to say Julian, but Nate cuts her off, and then and she's like, I don't understand. She said. Confusion puckered her forehead. Are you talking about Yes, this is Nate's point of view. And she's like, yeah. He's like, yes, I interrupted. It's my fault that he's dead. He yanked me out of the way when a timber rattlesnake struck after. Da da da. There's no talk of the actual name. She just says Jul, and then he just says yes. Like, he's not actually paying attention to what she's saying. Because he's just so like
distraught.
Yeah. And so this whole time she's thinking it's Julian Torres, and like that's how we hear of Torres. And then we have like another conversation, and where at one point they were chatting and he says something. I was just trying to find the pages like before we got on here, and it was something along the lines of, she's like, and Torres walked up and said something, and then it just like Torres walked up and said something, but no one else acknowledged Torres's existence. Like, there's so many times in this book where Torres will make comments and Nate will react to it, but there's not anyone else in that area that reacts to anything Torres says. Like,
how good the writing has to be for this to occur,
to make me go back,
even notice.
I didn't notice it all either. I had to go back and read.
I didn't notice
and
at
like
all.
Sit here and pick it up and be like, oh my gosh, not once. Wild.
The trauma that this man went through,
right?
The things that this guy did
just for her,
and going to like the ending when they are in Maine and he's a teacher and all of this, and like they're just in the field together, like their books and stuff, and they go, I'm just like, thank God, because I really can't deal with them not having a happy ending. I was so afraid the whole time. So what I thought was going to happen, I thought her sister was going to die.
Same.
I thought her sister was going to die.
That Serena was going to die. I was convinced. I was like, oh man. Luckily, no one died, just Torres. but I was really convinced that she was going to pass. And I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to handle that. Like her fun, spunky, crazy sister who we've seen so many times be like the biggest cheerleader for this relationship when her parents are like, absolutely
Do you
not.
think she should have died?
No. No.
Yeah.
Don't.
I like that it made
pull
you
a Liam. Don't.
Okay,
pull
okay,
a Liam.
okay. I'm just saying, I do like that it made us think that she was, though, because it added to like the anxiety and stress and suspense of the book.
Like, what page are you going to turn on to? That's the last page of her sister. Yeah.
But again, oh God, Nate and Izzy are just, they are so amazing. They're so real. They're so raw. I think that, you know, Nate definitely did piss me off when they were like in one of their bungalows or whatever, and she was asking about like where they were going to go and what this was, and he was just like kept saying like no, and then like when he has the nightmare and he basically almost hurts her, and then he like goes and jumps off the freaking he just jumps off the damn deck into the water and like swims away. I was like, okay, drama. But like also he's going through trauma. I don't know. It's a lot.
But then it's really great to see in the very end of the book, he's actually like acknowledging it and is like, I'm going to get help.
Yes. Because the whole time he's just like, and I think that points out something really important as well, like the flaws in society and also like within the military, like this fear of getting help and asking for help. And the fact that he keeps saying repeatedly throughout the book, like, I will lose my job. Like if I walk in there, and that's when he had that conversation with his friend before he walked in there, and then he's like, I've been talking, he's been dead for 4 years. And I was like, oh my God.
Right.
What? But the fact, like, on one hand, I understand because these guys who do these things, like, they are the elites of the country. They are so good at what they do. And you do have to be mentally, like, mentally sound. But the problem is with making it that taboo with what these guys are doing. Like, these guys are the people that went in and, you know, killed Osama bin Laden. Like, these are the people that are going around the world saving people from being kidnapped by terror, like hostage situations. These are the guys who are going, you know, getting woken up in the middle of the night to go on an operation, God knows where, for God knows how long and how dangerous. And that's why it's so hard. That's like they have the highest divorce rate. These types of people in the military have the highest divorce rate in all of the military and kind of probably in most of the country, really, because it's so damn difficult. And I think it was really well represented in this book. That lifestyle.
Like the idea of people who are in the military and getting mental help, because a lot of people who are in the military do commit suicide.
Yes, that's the highest rate of suicide is in the military.
So I think the fact that this book showed Nate getting help in the end, and like really, really was a positive thing to see, instead of him just like shoveling his trauma deep below and just dealing with it, so to speak.
Yeah, and because a lot of these guys have to deal with it themselves because they are doing things that, like Nate said to Izzy, like, I can't tell you what I do and I don't want you to know what happens, and I don't want you to like, he feels like he can't share that with her, but they are seeing and doing really, really, really awful things, and it's traumatic as all hell. And I just think that it was really well represented, and I commend Rebecca for how she wrote this story and how she represented all of it, the government stuff, the the military part, Afghanistan, all of this stuff, and I like how she did it from like 2011 until 2021, so like that 10-year span. Where really, like, there's a lot of stuff going on in the Middle East, and he has to go on all these deployments and things, and it was just really, really, really well done. And I can't commended enough, and I can't wait to read it again and again and again.
It's a
And I
comfort
really
read.
want it to be a movie. I want it to be a movie so bad. It can
Yeah.
be Notebook level, to be honest.
It really could. In the likely event, I could totally see it being like a Notebook level like movie. By the way, this is my rabbit Nesta. She just wanted attention, so she was
Nesta.
in here. So if you see me, if you can see anything, if you're watching this on YouTube or the video on Spotify, the bunny I'm holding is my rabbit Nesta. She has free reign around our house. So she's really well trained. So we don't really have to worry too much with her. She's pretty good. So anyway.
I feel like Ronald and Eric might even like this book.
I think so. I'm going to recommend a couple of her other books to Ronald because they're like pilot-esque books.
Okay, what was your favorite part of the book?
My favorite part of the book?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I think it's when they met up and she was at the bachelorette party, and it was like when they first saw each other and they're like, this is Plane Crash Girl, and they're like, this is Plane Crash Guy. Like, I don't know. I think that to me was just like one of the moments where I was just like cheesing the whole time I was reading it. I was like, oh man, this is so cute. Yeah, I think yeah, and then maybe like a couple of the scenes I really enjoyed were like the ones where, you know, he would end up in her room in present day and they have some of those conversations or you're just like, come on, just can you just admit it? Can you just admit you're in love? I just need you to admit this. Oh gosh, I love those moments where I'm just sitting there and I'm like,
just say it, just say
it. Come on, you're in love. It's okay to be in love. We want you to be in love. We hate Jeremy.
I won't say I'm in love.
Yeah, no chance, no way.
Wait, I won't say it. No. Yeah, I was like, come on.
Literally, you swoon. She's swooning.
I think my favorite scene was when they get back from the bar on her 21st birthday and they have their first like full real like little sexual encounter, and I am living for it. It was so freaking good and I loved it.
So much of this book was so good. Like I can't like thinking back and being like, which part did I actually like the most? But I think it was when they met, like back up for the first time.
I just feel it. And like Eric's coming home tonight after being on for 3 weeks, and I'm just like, so giddy to see him. And he was just deployed for 7 months. So I resonate so much with like the time apart and reuniting and like how that all feels. And I just feel her so much. And just like, I'm just in love with love, and I'm in love with Izzy and Nate, and I just want and hope that they just live in Maine all happily ever after forever.
I really thought they were gonna. I was really afraid that it wasn't going to work out, and we would just be left with this like, maybe it could have worked out, maybe it couldn't have worked out situation, and we'd be sitting here like, I'm crushed. Because at that point, I'd be like, I don't even want to read Iron Flame because what are you going to do to me? But just kidding. I would always read Iron Flame.
I'm so scared for Iron Flame, to
I'm
be
terrified.
Honest. The fact that Rebecca Yarros said, like, I'm not going to do a Xaden POV until he stops keeping secrets. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, like, what secrets? Mean? What secrets?
Yeah. I don't know what secrets. I don't know. I don't know why she said that.
Yeah.
I don't know why she said that. There's so much going on.
I'm going to read all of her other books in the meantime.
Do some book gossip.
Well, one, I just love her, and I think she might be my, if I'm going to say romance author, like straight off the bat. Like I'm an Sarah J. Maas girly. I know I'm so basic, but I love Sarah J. Maas. I really do.
Throne of Glass series, Supreme.
Oh my god, it's so much better than ACOTAR.
Tandem reading right now, and oh my god,
not prepared for it to be better than ACOTAR. Not that this is that kind of book, but I'm gonna say I will die on the hill that Rebecca Yarros is the best romance writer out there. Like I've read a lot of books. I read a lot of books, and there is just nothing that touches her. And again, I don't read books.
I don't read books. I don't read a lot of books. And there's nothing that touches this book.
Well, I've tried Colleen Hoover. I always tell people, and this is no disrespect to Colleen Hoover. Absolutely not. I think she's like great. Like anyone that's not into reading and they want to get into reading, I will always recommend. I'm like, you should start with Colleen Hoover. You really should start with her. She is a great introductory into reading to get people hooked. And then I feel like from there you like kind of graduate up into your stories.
Yeah.
Because for me, I felt
Yeah.
like a lot of Colleen Hoover's books were repetitive, and I could
Yeah.
always predict how it's going to end. And I didn't enjoy the writing as much. But I had been, by the time I read Colleen Hoover, I had also been reading for a really long time at that point. So I feel like because I've been reading for so long, I didn't need an introductory book to get me into reading, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Well, you also wanted more complex stories.
Yeah, I did.
Like
I
Throne of
wanted,
Glass is fucking plex. Like there is 7 million things going on all at the same time.
yes,
And
but
it's
also
it's so hard to keep up.
while I guess in the likely event isn't like,
It's still
whew,
complex,
it's
though. Like I
complex,
feel
yeah.
like it's complex because of the time. She keeps it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
She keeps you on your toes
The
because of how
entire
it
time.
is.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's laid out in a complex way. The story is simple, but the way it's laid out is complex. Does that make sense?
Yes. But you know that TikTok that's like, if she has 1 fan, it's me. If she has 100 fans, it's me. And like that is how I feel about Rebecca Yarros. I'm like, if she has 1 fan, it's me. If she has 100 fans, it's me. Am I gonna read every book that she ever publishes? Absolutely. I will read every single book Rebecca Yarros ever puts out on shelves, because she's made me feel the way I haven't felt in a long time with her reading. Like so many of her books so far, because I think I'm on 4 books by her. I have one more book, and then yeah. So the books I have, I've read by her already, and then I'm yeah. Anyway, so
Do you like them?
I do. I've liked The Things We Left Unfinished. Crushed my soul.
Ooh.
Crushed my soul. That one hurt. Whiskey's crying because it also crushed his soul. But I have
You
to
need
say,
to do a book gossip on it.
I probably should. In the likely event, though, I think is my favorite by her so far. Maybe even more
love
than
it
Fourth
more
Wing.
than anything. I love it more than anything. Honestly,
more than
in
Fourth
the likely
Wing?
event.
Do we love it more than Fourth Wing? I don't know. I don't know.
think you can. I don't think that you can put them in the same category.
Okay,
like I feel like they're very different kind of love.
Mm-hmm.
I love in the likely event in the way of that it made me feel warm and fuzzy and scared and crying and all the emotions and feels and investment. Fourth Wing like just took me out of this world and put me in this amazing place.
Okay, I like that better. I'm going to say we like them the same because they're in different categories.
They are. They're just very, very different. So I don't think you can judge them like what's better because they're just so different. I just feel like in the likely event, the last thing I'll really say about it, and I felt like I had so much to say after I finished it, but now I'm in Throne of Glass tandem reading mode and I'm like, my brain is literally scrambled. The takeaways from Unlikely Event is 1, it changed my brain chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
2, it was really compelling and written beautifully. And 3, Eric needs to step it up because he needs to become like Nathaniel Fallon or else it's not going to go.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I love him so much, but it's really creating unrealistic expectations. I swear to God, these books create such unrealistic expectations. But he is my Nathaniel Fallon and or Phelan or whatever the hell, Nathaniel Phelan. And I'm losing it. I'm delusional right now.
You can be Delulu. I'm a little Delulu myself, just living in my Delulu world.
So yeah, I think that this book is 5 out of 5 stars. I would totally recommend it to anybody. I would recommend it to fantasies and non-fantasy readers alike. And I think that everyone will really, really enjoy the ride. And it's just a good comfort read for especially this fall. If you're looking for something really to snuggle up in a blanket this fall, In the Likely Event is your freaking book. And I want to know your thoughts and I want you guys to tell me about what you think. And as you're going through this journey with Nate and Izzy, if you haven't read this book yet and somehow you're watching this podcast,
I really hope you did not watch this podcast.
I really hope you didn't watch this book. But if somehow you didn't read it yet, or you have read it and you're on a reread this fall, like let us know what you thought of the book. I really want to relive it with you. So this
book was like a 5. And I did a book gossip on it already. So like I did say like my feels in that a bit. But it was a 5 out of 5 read for me. I loved the story. I loved that it was a dual point of view. I loved that it was also like dual point of view, dual timelines going back and forth, which I just again loved how it was like executed so well. It also was a comfort read for me, but at the same time, it wasn't like the movie, not the movie, the book. P.S. I Love You. is like a comfort read as well for me, but this is like a different kind of comfort read. It wasn't one that I was okay with putting down. It was a comfort read that I read really quickly because I could not put it down, but it was also like kept you on your toes, but it also was so feel good. It was a feel good read that kept you on your toes, that keeps you wanting to like find out what's going on in the story, that makes you excited to read. It gives you all the good, like Rebecca Yarros is very good at giving you feel good feels about like, oh yes, this is exactly what I need for this moment in time.
Yeah,
and
this
again,
episode was definitely all over the place, but
definitely all over the place, as are all of our episodes. We're kind of chaotic with this. We probably should get better at
organized.
Like, yeah, we probably should create a timeline and like kind of like maybe like not a timeline.
I feel like we did in the beginning. Like I used to create my outlines and stuff and have
Yes.
my questions and pointed things, but it's just been so crazy. Like we've been just so busy trying to like do everything. We have a lot of things going on. We have some projects coming up for Whimsy Gossip, and
but also we have very busy personal lives. So yeah. But anyway, in the likely event, I want to know if you guys saw the ending coming. Did you see the fact that his friend actually was not there with him? Did you anticipate that at all? Because I did not. I don't think Valerie did either. Yeah. So I want to know if you anticipated that. Who was your favorite character? Did you like Nate? Did you like Izzy? Or did you like Serena?
Jeremy?
Sorry.
Dick
Instant
face.
reaction. Instant reaction. Couldn't help it. It just came
He's the
out.
Dane of the show, of the series. He's the Dane of the book.
Maybe worse. Because gosh, like the fact that he cheated on her. I don't do cheaters. I'm sorry. Like, I can't.
But I'm glad he did, because I didn't want her to be with him anyway. I wanted her to be with Nate. So all worked out.
Same.
Everything happened for a reason.
Thank gosh. But yeah, so and also if you plan on reading any of Rebecca's other books, or tell me what book I should read next.
Yeah.
I am on a Rebecca like binge. Not at the present moment because I have to finish a few other books on our TBR that have been sent to us. So I want to read those just to do that author justice, because they were kind enough to send me a book. So I always want to read them so I can put like a review on Goodreads. So
yeah, we're on Goodreads now. So check out the links in our bio on Instagram and TikTok, and you can follow us on Goodreads. We are rating every book that we read from the podcast.
So we won't be doing any books, like I'm not linking it to my Goodreads. So books that I've read prior to creating Whimsy Gossip, I'm not reviewing on Goodreads. Yeah, it's just books that we've read while Whimsy Gossip has been going on, that we do book gossips on, that books that authors send us. And yeah, so right now I am a little overwhelmed in the book sphere. So, but when I am not overwhelmed and I have a break and my TBR shrinks back down a little bit, I would love to know what Rebecca Yarros book is your favorite. And if you could just recommend that to me, that would be great. I plan on reading all of hers, but I want to know what one I should read next. So we'll put that in like a little question box below. So
yeah. Let us know below, and
let us know if you're like a military person, or like if you resonated with this book in any way, shape, or form. Did this book also resonate with you? If so, why? How did this resonate with you? I would just like to know.
I would love to know too. And anyway, I have to go get my husband from the airport because he's been gone for 3 weeks in Hawaii.
I'm so excited.
For military stuff, and I miss him so much, and I'm really excited to see him because again, we're just so apart so much, and thus is the life of the government military life. Which is again another reason why I love this book. But yeah, I gotta go get him from the airport and snuggle up with him all night long, and I'm so freaking excited to have my Nathaniel Phelan back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think that's kind of like how we end this. So yeah. All right. Love you, Val. Tell Eric I said hi.
You. I will let him know.
Give him a hug for me.
I will.
Okay.
We'll catch you guys next week. Follow us on everything, on TikTok,
on Instagram, on YouTube,
Spotify.
We're on all the platforms.
All the things.
I
love you so much. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Okay.
For another Whimsy Wednesday.
Give him a hug. Huh? Tell Eric I said hi. Give him a hug. Give Steve all my love. I know she's there. I keep seeing her tail.
She's been obsessed with me all episode. I don't.
Fun fact, Steve is my favorite cat ever. But anyway, okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Love you, Val.